Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually saying the clock both times you've booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't have any kind of way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you set up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whatever time you want, even if it's not correct time. You've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. It's so charming. Oh my god. I just need to... Probably should have made sure of this already, but... Hope that that's working. There we go. Yeah, it's working. I'll just lower it down a little bit. Not too much. Still want to hear the narrator. Just... That should be good. The end is never the end is never the end is never. The end is loading. Ha, nice.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-wrecking, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then
Jesus.
one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I'm just gonna very quickly lower it down a little bit more.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I don't know.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Just like pressing everything.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
You're a funny narrator, man.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Did he? Did he?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yeah, it's a nice room. I like it.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No. Nah. Nah. Do not lie. You are lying right now. Stop it.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
I'm surprised as well. How do you know what would cause death?
We've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
Well, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
I don't believe you.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
I'm colorblind.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
I like the left more.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
I see what you're saying. I understand. But I'm going this way.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well,
yes.
Don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
Yeah.
Do not think I put a lot of time into that, because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see.
This is so cool.
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. I'll tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
All
There
right.
we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
You know, it's more of the illusion of choice. So, I'm going to have to give it a 2.
Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term.
Yeah.
It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Aw, I don't think that actually updates. That would have been really funny. 98.9% of players are more attractive than Stanley. 9,000th, really? I'd expect more than 9,000 people to be playing this game, to be honest with you. It's a very... Oh dear. I went through this one. That's confusing.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
I don't know. I'll give it a 1.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Okay.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger.
Oh!
You click the
Whoa,
button to move
there's a
him
plant.
back to the right,
Oh my
and
God,
if
there's
he
a
reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game.
I love
All
this
about the
plant.
desperation and tedium of
Hi.
endlessly
I love this
confronting
plant.
the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for
This is a
about
really
4
high-textured
hours.
plant.
So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
I really like this plant. Oh, Christ. Stop it. No. No. Ah, no. Stop it. Alright, go ahead.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
Alrighty.
Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted, erotic purpose.
Of course.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
I like this little map thingy. So lovely. Oh, there's some propane.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
What's wrong, narrator?
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wandered off into that thing. That big open...
Well, I want to go
just
to
wandering
Jonesy
around,
Lake.
No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Right, whoa.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design.
I see.
Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together.
Yeah.
Yes, I think surely we must.
That sounds
Okay,
good.
Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
When I hit the ball, I go faster.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it
Yes.
better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience.
How many
I'm going to
balls?
try it out. Here comes another ball.
How many balls? Woo! Oh my god!
Yes. Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
How many? Oh, dear Christ! Oh my fucking god! Oh, this is fucking brilliant. I scored.
Are you enjoying this, Stanley?
I am?
Are you having fun? Is this a real video game?
Yes.
Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over.
What do you mean, so?
That's
what?
right. Your little fun comes
No.
from me. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides,
That's just not
you
fun.
need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I'm structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
Alright, bye-bye. Big hole. Awfully big hole.
Hold on. What are you doing? Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You...
This is creepy. Four, two, six.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
I don't think the end is ever coming.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, Mr. Narrator. I'll do as you tell me. I'll follow your rules, you know?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Maybe I'll get more choices down the road.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Get Chris out of the broom closet. Hire someone to synergize papers. Papers are too synergized. Fire paper guy. Hire somebody to fire the paper synergy guy who moved my desk. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is you. Tomorrow, complete today. Unfinished agenda, write the next day's agenda, reflect. Cabal planning. Do not alter without consulting whiteboard manager. Rate at which this chart. Rate of increase in graphs per slide. Please no more charts of begging. Okay, on. Solving interpersonal conflict. Takes 2 people to start a fight, and right now you're both of them. Plant life. Transcend. Talk radio. Mitosis. A boat. Pollution. Metamorphosis. Talk less. Do unbelievably amazing work all time, every day. Don't get fired. How to solve it. Let it bulb inside you. Take it out passive aggressively on other coworkers. Resent coworkers for not supporting you more. Everyone is unique. You most of all. That actually seems like something that would be in a fucking memo. Number of slides in the slide chart. Charts and slides. Rate at which charts on the same slide depict the same information. Rate of increase in graphs per slide. Stop. Oh my god, I love this. They got him out of the broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
There's stuff here. There's a wrench and
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
what are you gonna do about it?
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
I'm just tired, man. Leave me alone. I just want to sleep in the broom closet. Jesus. Have you never wanted to sleep in a broom closet?
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend you'll say, "Oh, Did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite. I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. So Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on now. You're dead. You got to his broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the floor. In a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. Fall and prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Oh my fucking god. Oh Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. I wonder if I step out and then go back in, or if he'll close the door after me.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too. Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of the entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby behind the controls too. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Alright. Aww. Oh, I can't jump. There's a broom. There's a sweepy. It's a little bit of a... Looks like a file on the floor. Alright, okay. I've had my fun.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Huh. Well, if that ain't ominous.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
That is rather
Why did
curious.
doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue.
He's
He
insane.
just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
The hell?
So, he imagined himself flying. and began to gently float above the ground.
What? Wait,
Then
whoa,
he
whoa!
imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of it by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my
Oh my fucking god.
And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Huh?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
Mr. Narrator. I'll play along with your silly fucking games.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What? Oh.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Oh no, this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Alright. And I'm done. I gotta go up.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Jesus. Because the boss knows that. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, that's what the boss chooses. Nice little painting. He hasn't told me to do anything. Oh, is this literally just... That's funny. Okay. Alright.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Nice.
2845. But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself.
Whoa.
And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
I got it. What if I want to leave? Okay, I can't leave. This doesn't look like a terrible secret. Assuming. It worked! Huzzah! The elevator has opened, and Stanley found himself in a whole new world of trouble.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
No shit.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest.
No shit.
As though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now? when for years it had never occurred to him. This question would not go unanswered for long. Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out. Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
What? No. Oh, it's like a distance thing. Alright. Cool, cool. Yeah. What if I just sit in the elevator? Oh, I'm gonna go back down.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Jesus, stop being so fucking condescending, narrator. Is this different?
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No.
Corridor.
It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
It's killing me too, Mr. Narrator, man. Is it gonna be the boss's office? It is! Oh my god, no way!
Oh my god. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
I love this game so much.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
I'm going to the elevator and I'm going to go down, if you don't mind.
Of course. Going back down at the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
I'm going to go back up the elevator just to spite him. Aw, nothing.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
It really
I
is.
simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting.
I know.
Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
Alright, okay.
There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know,
It really
Stanley,
is, yeah.
It seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible.
That's
They
true.
want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started.
Couldn't agree with you
Where's
more.
the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the
course.
characters?
Yeah,
Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises?
of
To have
course.
to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years.
It truly
and
is.
it's really all because of you.
Thank you.
You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over.
Look,
Truly, I mean it.
I'm just
this
studious.
is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You
Thank
see,
you.
I want stories that surprise me, Stanley.
Me too.
I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to.
I understand
We're
entirely.
being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people
Yeah.
like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're
Yeah.
a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why... Oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you.
What?
So that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life.
No
Yes, I
way.
know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh good, we're here.
Alright, okay.
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here.
Always on Stanley, live on stage. How we did the pyramids, world's healthiest human being, all tricks revealed. Live, the guy who went to Mars. Alright, let's see. Oh god, I don't even have any makeup on. I'm not ready for a press conference.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
Stanley Parable Stanley, tonight live on stage. Stanley? An evening with world peace, baby. The storyteller. Stanley reveals all in his new book.
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling.
Alright, okay.
And what it means to craft
Stanley
a
Ryder.
truly unpredictable
Almonds,
narrative.
chair,
Oh,
gum,
don't worry,
table,
you'll
nut
do
bar.
great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Alright, let's do this. Alright. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Door on
When
the
Stanley came to
here.
a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Of course, yeah. As Stanley would, you know. Blah, blah.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ah, you bastard.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Alright. Alright, yeah.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Feels nice, feels good. Yeah. I wonder if it would have been possible for me to go back down. I'm not gonna try that now, because
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
oh my god, stop posing so many choices to me, game.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Alright. Bring it on, death. I ain't scared of you, pussy.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yeah. Adios. Guess I'm not dead yet.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, it reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story.
Yeah, I don't.
Trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh, fuck.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
To make sure the player reaches 2 doors in good time. Blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. Path to Stanley's office to 2 doors. The first part of the game is built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, though the core layout remains mostly identical through each iteration. Nature paintings. Lovely. Stanley's computer. Can't interact with it. The office. buttons. That's cool. A set of two doors was the very first concrete piece of Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it. An exploration of the contradictions of this room posed. Filing cabinets. Office computers. Employee database. Installation. Kevin Brighting. The office. Maintenance room. Early version of the maintenance room. Warzone. Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley ended up in a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would be sentient, become sentient, and will wage war against the narrator. Because we realized shortly after we built this that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. That's interesting. The office. Lounge. Early version of the lounge. Apartment timer. In a previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Cargo lift. Second version was functionally the same as what it looks like in the final game, but we wanted it to look more like a place where cargo was actually stored. Cargo lift. Cargo lift was always intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping to a different path. However, our early version, we decided we also wanted the option of the players falling to their death. Oh, is this... What? First choice, obey, disobey, lounge, vent, maintenance. One door to maintenance in the lounge. Two doorways to maintenance. The other entrance will be hidden. What's this? So the hallways following the first two doors was important to get right since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. Yeah, it's that one. Zending. Monitor room elevator. Stanley's office. guess there's not much left to do, I suppose.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
I feel kind of uneasy, to be honest with you.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
Hello.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
As am I, Mr. Narrator Man. Ah, that's not an option. It doesn't seem.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go.
Hey.
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Alright, narrator. It's just me and you, baby.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Let's go. The jump.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Aww. You're not fun.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Other elevator.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Alright. Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around this. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Huh? No, I didn't consent to that. Oh, hold on. This is very different.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
There's something shimmering. It's just a fan, though. No. Fuck you, narrator. Eat a penis. Hold on.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares? Oh, never mind. You're not a dork.
Guess I'm not a dork. What's down here?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
This is fucking That's cool.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release?
What a
Remember
bastard.
back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched?
I
Back
think I
then,
was-
video games had integrity. Back
I was
then,
10
it
back
all
then.
meant something. Oh, the waste.
I was 10. Stanley. I was 10 in 2013. I'm turning 20 next year. I'm turning 19 this month. Was there BAFTA nominee or did it win? What did it win for the BAFTAs? Because there was a BAFTA thing here. What did it win? Oh. Didn't actually win a BAFTA. That's funny. I mean, it's not funny. This is so cool, though. New video game releasing today. Creator surprisingly down to earth. 50% off designer hats, bro!
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Fantastic arcade. Person of the year. Honestly, I have the original Stanley Parable. I never played it. I played like 30 minutes of it because I got it when I was like 14. I was very stupid, so I didn't really. I was all about like, oh yeah, the game, fucking, it doesn't have the pew pew guns. It's bad, but honestly, I really fucking like it. I really like this. It's different, to be honest with you, and I can really appreciate the differentness, you know?
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
That's awesome. Carpet textures. Repeatable carpet textures ready for your game project. 6 royalty free. Missing co-worker scenario. Pairing snake oil salesman. God, this.
Oh, these were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back To have it all over again? Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
I don't know.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down
Caution.
here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Not recommended. Honestly,
I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write
there's
up
a
a handful of
possible
gags to
here.
insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
let me see. Honestly, I don't. Oh.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
You stop provoking
I
only in the
feel
first minutes.
like a failure. Like I let these people down.
You haven't.
Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
This looks better than Fallout. This looks like a better Fallout game than Fallout 4.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here.
I love how the
I'll
bad
pretend that
reviews
I
have
just
like 6
begun
hours
an
on them.
interminable
That's true,
monologue,
yeah.
and it goes something like this.
I-
The story and the choices.
I always love
And
when
therefore, by
a
becoming
game
it
has
is,
like
so on
when
and
you
so
see
forth,
someone who has like
until
a really negative review of a game, like they say they
until
fucking
end
hate
of
it. Like
time, at which
a
time
lot of
everything
Elden
will
Ring
run
reviews got
smooth.
that,
Now you
and
see,
people
blah,
had
blah,
like
blah,
70
blah,
hours
blah,
in the
blah,
game. It's
blah,
like
blah,
this
blah,
game
blah,
fucking
blah,
sucks. Like,
We've eaten too much
bro,
and
you
can't
basically
be just
played
fed.
the
No,
entire
we'll go
game.
until
Shut up.
245. That the logic of elimination working
just gonna
backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years.
I know this is probably gonna break the flow, but I really gotta go take a piss. Sorry. Oh Jesus! Oh goodness! Oh gracious! two hands. Hey! Yeah. But yeah, that is such a fucking valid point. Like, if you basically finish the game, that means that the game managed to keep you engaged for that entire time. Even if you're just doing it so that you get, like, a full, you know, thing of the game. It still must have had some enjoyment, right? Like, that's just a nonsense statement.
Until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. But the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until
I think
so
he's
much
repeating.
more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices,
Yeah.
or what have you, and there. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place.
I think you can.
I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works.
Maybe you should, yeah.
Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused.
That's true.
Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial.
Alright.
Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever
Oh my
made.
goodness.
It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If
True,
there is any
yeah.
message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever
Honestly,
could
yeah.
dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review.
It is?
It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again. It's simply too wonderful. I have to experience this just one more time.
Just one more time.
From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How
How
else
best
to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such
a
a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parables carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their
it doesn't.
You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience.
This is
it
such
leaves
a nice
me
plant.
hopeful that as a community, as
very
a
high
world,
quality.
there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30
Oh fuck, the
45
door's
minutes.
gone.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it.
I'm so tempting.
Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
Yeah, that's what I was
I
saying.
do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me.
I'm trying to.
We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door, as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door.
Thank
I
you.
don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise.
Thank
You
you.
just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back. Stanley, please don't push the button again.
12 hours!
12 hours! You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every
I
angle,
never
checked
understand this
every one of
question.
those
Who is
walls
Stanley?
1,000 times, and there's no
What do you
door,
mean, like,
Stanley.
when
There's no
reviewers
door.
ask?
There's just
Because, like,
you,
I mean, Stanley's just
button,
Stanley,
and
man.
if you
He's
can
an
see
icon.
it, I have
How can you
no
not
idea
know who
what
Stanley
happened.
is?
I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe. I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking to fix the problem. Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even
What just
met
happened?
Cookie
Why did the
Nine.
stream-
I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time.
Oh my god, the plant is
I
dead.
stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities.
Sorry, narrator,
I felt
I'm on
nothing
a
at all
time
but
crunch.
regret for the
Narrator? Narrator? That's Morse code. That's Morse code. Morse code, Morse code, Morse code, Morse code, Morse code, Morse code. How do I read Morse code? It's not Morse code. It's fire alarm.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But
I hate when there's no ambience, there's no sound.
the end is never the end, 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 is never.
Narrator. Narrator, I really don't like this. Huh? Narrator, I really don't like this anymore. I really, really don't like this. Okay, this is nice. This is nice. This is nice. I really don't like this. I really don't like this. Narrator, I really don't like this. Ah! Okay. Can I leave? Oh my fucking god! Can I use the button again? Can't. I should have just sat through his rambling. I shouldn't have skipped. I shouldn't have skipped. Oh my fucking god! I really don't like this. I really, really don't like this. Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Is this slightly slanted? Something feels wrong. I don't... New content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Alright. Alright, we're just zooming through. We're not even... Okay. The elevator again. New content.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
Narrator, what do you
Which
mean?
is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much Ultra Deluxe. What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2. Now that's
I don't know why that's so funny.
It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Oh, my sweet Jesus. Oh, I love how it's like, it's all... Oh, there's a bunch of different logos. You have Stanley Parable 2, or the Stanley Parable 2, or Stanley Parable 2, or the Stanley Parable 2, or the Stanley Parable 2. Thanks for attending my meeting. Oh, I was hoping to flick through them.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing
Scrum,
for
design, pitch,
I
break,
figure
pitch design.
if I can loosely
Number 2
organize
chat.
a handful of interesting
2
concepts,
ears,
that surely
2
the game
two
will
eyes,
sort
2
of
ears, 2
naturally
nostrils, 2 arms,
spring
2
up
legs.
around them. It'll all
Who
work
took the
itself
red
out.
marker?
Game
Me.
development is much more
Me.
fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
The prequel. 2 is the sequel to Whoa. To the Stanley Parable is the prequel to the Stanley Parable 2. Oh. The Stanley Parable is the prequel to the Stanley Parable 2. Valued investors, this way to the show floor. Oh, I can't go that way. That is emitting a slight red glow. Is that a press tour bus? It's fucking hilarious. Honestly, this is so, if they are planning on making a sequel, this is such a fucking good way to pitch it.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
Alright. Hear your name in the game. Button that says the name of the player. I gotta try this.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of
Too
course,
big, too small,
first and
just
most
right.
obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Alright, okay. Whew. Gotta get pumped. It's a new feature after all. My name.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim and really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Alright,
Just play along. I promise you'll love it.
My name is...
Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim.
Jim.
Sleeping and waking as Jim.
Jim.
Falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim.
Jim.
Seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim. And
Jim.
as Jim, watching your dreams crumble into dust.
Jim.
Do you feel it deeply? Are
do.
you really, truly Jim right now?
Yeah.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Fuck! Oh my god!
Yes, you see.
Hello,
What a
John
thrill,
Johnny.
What a rush! That was you. The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
It's even harder this second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all
the
of this
personal
personal
validation.
Jim.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away.
No, don't put...
Very soon you'll start to lose all sense of
No!
who you
No, don't put... No, don't... No!
Jim.
He took the button away from me. That's so rude. He took the Jim button away from me. I'm Jim! He took the Jim button away from me! It's fine, you know, it's fine, it's fine.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That
You
would
heard
actually
Jim
save
in the
me
game.
the work of finishing this feature.
The button that says Jim. Oh my fucking god. The reassurance bucket. Do what he says and hit the on button. On
A common
button?
complaint of the Stanley
I already hit the
Parable
Jim button.
was that it was confusing and paradoxical.
Alright.
That it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game.
Alright.
It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket.
Oh my
You
fucking
see,
god.
Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to
Alright.
be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
Of course.
Come on, give it a try.
Okay, fuck.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body.
That is a
And in
well-animated
fact, Can I
bucket.
say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they?
They really
All
do.
this and more
After the
await
new
you
content.
in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ah. I just get to keep the bucket. Oh my god! I have a bucket! That's amazing! Oh my god! Hopefully it doesn't get snatched away from me for the
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award.
office
if it isn't
decorations,
already.
infinite hole.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
I don't know. Oh! Get well someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Thanks. That really makes me feel validated. Alright.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
The jump circle. Another jump circle? Aww.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Thanks, narrator. Free new plus easy achievement. I can't believe it's that simple. It just works. Get it here. Alright. Free plus easy. Pull.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world.
I can't
who have been
believe you.
uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
I'm just gonna keep trying. Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. You gave me a bucket. You can at least give me that. I wasn't able to get the achievement. That makes
What
sense.
else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
I guess this thing. Can you find them? Can you find them? Can you find them? Can you find them? Collectibles! Woo!
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
I...
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Alright. Jump circle. This map. Free achievement. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Merch. I didn't go to the merch. I have the reassurance bucket. Office departments. Epilogue. Where's the epilogue? Also, I like how it's just like random fucking buttons. Infinite hole. I don't want to go there just yet. I want to get the epilogue. Please, no screenshots. The baby is all grown up. Red is the new orange. The new updated ray traced. More of the same, but in a good way. Sequel to the new features, new content, new ideas. Jump circle, infinite hole. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. What's the infinite hole? Infinite hole is here, and then, aha, it just won't end. Down here, apparently. It's in here. Oh, that's that. Alright. Of course. Makes sense. Makes sense. Distant space-time, distant future, whole like infinity, distant space-time, space like infinity, distant past, falling, time deeper. Rim, depth, infinite, surrounding area, opening. Holy shit's infinity. Why do I find this? Infinite whole chart, whole depth, space, more whole. Infinity, science, and more falling. It just keeps going. Alright. Where's this one?
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful?
Oh,
One of my
shit.
more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
I'm just gonna write this
I
out.
don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Why, is there a bottom? Because if not, then there's no reason for me to press the button.
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole.
Oh, someone
You
throw a
found
mug
me
down
out,
here.
Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated
Just the
there. I
two
think
of
we
us.
both said
We
we
can
wanted
make
to
it if
agree.
we tried. Just the
Why
two of
don't
us.
we
Just the two of us.
put
Just
all
the
this
two of us
behind
building
us
castles in
and
the sky.
agree to just call the hole mostly infinite.
Every
If that
pause
works for
button
you,
is a
then
Roman
go ahead and
numeral.
press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole, and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Alright.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to... Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole. I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Oh gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where...
Huh.
Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite.
Huh.
I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Alright.
Well, there it is. The shame of
Huh.
my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working?
It's not.
You sure?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley.
Huh?
You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get...
Oh,
more
no,
time
for
of it
fuck's
than
sake,
you
no,
could
don't tell
ever
me this is
ask
another
for.
ending. The
It's a
whole
win for
ending.
everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity.
What was that? What's happening? What's happening? Oh, oh, oh. Oh. Narrator. No. Narrator. Narrator. Oh, this is actually kind of fitting. Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking Jesus! Oh my god!
Stanley! Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley.
Oh,
Because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment.
oh,
So
for fuck's
how
sake.
about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Alright.
Here we are. Go on. Try
Oh.
out some of the new features.
Wait, since I've already got the reassurance bucket. I wonder what happens if I go here to claim another one. Can I claim another one? Is it possible to? Nah, it's not. Alright. Oh my fucking god, that was actually too fucking funny. Oh, that actually hurt. That actually hurt. That actually hurt. That really hurt. It's there. Mostly infinite. Free achievement. Settings world champion. That's new. It is. I wonder what it is. Ah, you bastard. Epilogue.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Give me an epilogue. Damn you. That was fucking hilarious. Oh my god. I have... Fine, it ended. Oh my... I haven't laughed that hard in a really long time. Aww. Oh my god, that hurts. It said settings world champion here though. I'm kind of curious about that. Let's see what this is about. Settings world Ah, you bastard. Okay. Alright. Can't stop fucking smiling. That was too fucking funny. Oh my Christ. Oh my fucking god.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to?
Yeah.
Ready to move on now?
Yeah. Hey, that's me. That's Stanley. No screenshots. Actually, what if I...
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere.
Definitely.
So, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
All right.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything.
The bucket.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course.
All right.
With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
That's actually a really good title screen.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly.
Oh, shit.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Happy 12th
Stanley
birthday,
decided
Stan.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
That's
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
There's just balloons everywhere.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Where's the bucket? Bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Oh, I should have ignored the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Oh, fucking God.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But
That it
Stanley
can.
chose not to think about this obvious fact.
Oh, you
He was
bastard.
convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket. But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching. The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Aha. I am very smart.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
God, this game is fucking hilarious. Oh, will this bring me back to the... It better not. Where am I? The bucket guides me. The bucket knows the way. It's a lot of cassette tapes.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me. What's that? Who's there?
The fuck? That was something. I'll be back. Gotta take a wee wee. I have returned. I did a wee-wee. Alright. Alright, okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chin. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge
All right,
was
Stanley.
the place to be.
All right, Stanley.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Ah.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the... Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not know why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should
my
have
fucking
alarmed
God.
him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Danger, danger everywhere.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets
Ah!
past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
No. Alright, fine. Is this a bucket orientation? Am I gonna learn what a bucket is? Oh my fucking god.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not
a bucket.
Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket.
Oh, for
not
fuck's
an
sake.
actual bucket.
Is it all gonna be bucket?
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Okay. I got this, I got this.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect.
Oh,
This is a bucket.
that's just cheating.
Item 4. Is this a bucket? What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. An enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket?
What?
Correct. This is a bucket.
No, it's not a bucket. Fuck you.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both.
What?
Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No!
Okay, here we go.
No, 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 no. No.
What happened? Is everything gone?
Everything's
Why
a
did everything
bucket.
disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Okay.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Huh? How we can find them. Trust the completionist instinct. There will be a reward for finding them all. What we know, small floating objects appear in the office. We have to synergize our resources. There are many questions. There is no memo for management. Agenda. How can you tell you spotted one? What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? Follow the clues provided by employee 416. We can do it. Red room. Red room. Thank you. Good luck. Is that wingdings? I think that's wingdings. Bottom text. Space levitation. Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the frick up. Why wouldn't they just tell us something is happening? This investigation room, this room, they feel pointless, to be honest. We need more planks! Inside a sequel exhibit, stairs, something to do with stairs, somewhere both red and blue, nearby fireplace, a private but smelly place for an important reason. Stairs, something to do with stairs.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into next. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Red. Yay!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things.
Funko Pop.
Mini stands. Stanley figs. What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket! Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. Come to me, Stanley.
Oh my God!
Find me! He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. Security walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was.
He didn't have
This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Backflipped. But he didn't leave his bucket at work. He found it at work.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go
Meeting
to the
today
meeting room.
in the meeting
Perhaps he
room.
had simply
Figurine
misremembered.
Finders Committee.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Ah. There must be a point to this. Gotta collect them all. 5. There be. Just take it from me. I want to go home. I want them so much. Stop kidding yourselves. There will be cleaning of this wall required. Who are you? 666 wall. There will be a reward for finding them.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Aha!
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from
Figlies.
seeing a small
Oh,
number in
like
the corner
figurine
of your screen go
Stanley.
up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Stanley figurines. That's clever. That's smart. That's game design right there. Oh. Oh my. I can go down. Well then.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Aha!
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anlerines.
Figler
And then the
Anlerines.
first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anlerines. None of us can.
Figler Anlerines. That's a catchy name if ever I've heard one. I wonder how they're gonna
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my goodness.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
No, they didn't. In fact, they went
Although
towards
this
the...
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
This is where I stop. Flippo!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, and it was crushed violently to death.
As was Stanley's. I guess she didn't even mention Stanley.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are raging in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Welcomes you. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind that what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness? I love this. I love this so fucking much.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own?
25 buckets?
Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket
There's
is
more than
far
25
more
buckets
noble
here.
than Stanley will ever be in his
1,
short
2,
life?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured in camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for example, as a result of the euphoria of his Oh my fucking Christ. Inferno bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another. Billions died. Yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remained: no one can control a bucket. Oh, so true, so true. This is so amazing.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Well, Jesus. No need to be so rude. Phone?
delivering your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct? Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
That's good. Loads of cardboard boxes. That's good, good.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I almost have them all. I know what I have to do.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly, truly, deeply.
Madly love.
Love. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. And there it is. The last
Stiggly Wiggly.
Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Oh, that's a very...
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley? All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange...
Alright, I'm gonna begin the game again, because love the narrator and all, but we gotta continue forward. I hope you understand. Oh.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figures. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
Aw.
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Anything for you, narrator, you silly goose. Now remembering when Stanley collected those collectibles. The memory zone for the Stanley Parable. Ah. You have another door. That's very fascinating.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent.
Wait.
We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
That's not meant to happen. That's a bit silly. I got 7.
And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
I hate notifications on phones. I just want to kill them. Kill them all. Murder them. Ah, yes.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember? Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Does science say
Let's
that?
see. What came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
I remember this. I would distinctly remember an apple room, a pink apple room.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was behind the boss's office. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion.
Oh.
Enjoy.
Oh my fucking god, no. No, fuck off. What's over there? Oh my Christ, on a bike. You found it behind the boss's office. That was so good. Best Boy starring Stanley. Copyright the narrator.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else. And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Ah, they both lead the same way. You bastard.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Oh, that's so abrupt.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the Memory Zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the Memory Zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more.
Yep, this is... this.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Thanks, narrator.
Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Alright. There's nothing here. This is the second one.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
Back to the Memory Zone.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
My office.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office?
Main menu.
There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much.
What?
Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Huh. I wonder if that was a recorded message.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh, I wonder what impact this is going to have in the meeting room, because I collected more than...
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Guess I got them all.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
God, this kind of feels melancholic going back through it, because I don't know if this is actually going to be like a last time. I guess I'll do it as the narrator once.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Wait, where's... elevator?
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one, except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Wait. Just 3. Right, this is 1 and 2. Damn it. I think after this I'm gonna hit the hay, cause hit the hay, hit hay.
When at last they came to the source of the room,
I did that without even thinking.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait, what was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
I think I'm gonna leave it there, fellas. I don't know if anyone's still watching, but I fucking love the Stanley Parable, man. Oh my god. I've played 7 hours of this game, and I could play 7 hours more. It is so fucking good. That being said,